Hello everyone, my name is Silvio Camina. I come from Sons of KS Latam. We are here with Zeyzal. And before to start, I feel so sorry for this defeat. And how do you feel about that? Because it was I think this was a very important game for your team, right?
Yes, this game was not only important kind of because of our reputation right now of only beating top teams, but because of placings, this would have put us kind of firmly ahead of last place, and now we're tied with two other teams again. So this defeat was very rough because you can't really be losing to the other low place teams if you want to strive for playoffs and better.
They come for about 2 weeks of rest. So uh, uh, how do you take that 2 weeks of rest? For bad thing or good thing?
For us,
Yeah,
overall, I think it's good for us, but that's because we needed to fix a lot of things, and I think honestly we did it. We just haven't really been able to show that, which is unfortunate. I mean, we did get a win versus IMT, but we really needed this win and we couldn't really show our best. And for us, the 2 weeks of rest kind of meant a way to, get a lot more practice in without the I think the stress of the LCS games on the weekend would kind of like make every Thursday and Friday really focus on winning. But when it's a stretch of just scrims, you can really focus on like what we need to improve on, champs you're not so good at. So we were able to expand our champ pools and get some good scrim practice in.
okay, and also the next week is gonna be a tough weekend because it's 3 games in a row. Uh, uh, so how do you take that? Because I think they have to win that 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a bit more rough for sure. This should have been our like easier week, right? So we got to step it up. We're gonna take this game, and not only this game, the IMT game. Honestly, we have a lot to learn from too, and do our best so that we're ready for next week's games. And I hope we aren't looking so shaky, and we can make a good run for playoffs that week because there's a good chance that if we win three, we're pretty much locked. And I think otherwise, we're in for some tiebreakers. So it'll be a long week no matter what.
Yeah, and with that points in the table, it's hard to to not have a tie break.
Yeah, I think there will be tiebreakers for sure.
And also, we made some questions to the community in Latin America. And what about have to know about the supports players? And the first question was, and for you especially, what was the part most difficult this season as being a support, and what was the part more satisfactory for you?
I would say the most difficult part for me has been hmm, finding my place within the team because for us, we have a very vocal jungler with Boogie. And for me, I've been always like the most vocal about the ones calling fights and things like that. So we kind of had to find a balance between us. And also, he calls a lot of resources towards him. So I have to get back in the mindset of like, yeah, I got to back up my jungler for this play. And yeah, just learning to best work with Boogie has been a difficult thing, but also I think we're at a point where it's been very rewarding and we're at a pretty good strong point as a jungle and support. And
Okay,
then
uh-huh. And then
beat the other one, the second part.
the first one was the most difficult, and was the most enjoyed part or more loved part for you.
Honestly, the most enjoyable part has been getting to kind of play bot lane with both Wild Turtle and Bvoy. For Wild Turtle, it's just he's a very storied player. He has a lot of knowledge that even in me, I'm kind of a 5-year veteran at this point that I didn't even have, and he was very willing to give feedback directly, and that was really useful. I think it's it's hard for a more veteran support to get feedback from their AD carry because usually they'll have a more rookie AD carry. So that was really kind of a good experience for me, even though it was short lived. And then with Bvoy, I think he's just a really strong player, and he's got a very specific way he wants to play things, and it's actually taught me a lot as well. Not necessarily through him directly saying it, but in some cases he's quite direct about it. But yeah, I've actually probably learned more just in these like 6 weeks than I have probably in the past 2 years, which doesn't say a lot because I was playing academy, but it's been good.
Okay, and right now, what happened in this game? Because in early game it was so slowly game, and then becomes to scale to have a defense gold and points and objects. So what happened to this game to have this result?
So for us, it
Yeah.
was kind of our job to do something early game, right? We're the ones playing Lucian, Volibear, Jace. I think it was our job to put more pressure in early game, and it being like 0 kills early is kind of a failure on our part. We should have found a way to get either top dive or bottom dive off or just some sort of action in the early game. And failing that was really bad for our draft. And then I would say that they did a good job of covering their weak sides. When we had a chance to dive bot, their Sejuani was there. When we had a chance to dive top, their Talia was covering. So I think we failed in getting good plays off early game. And then when it came to mid game, we have a comp where we have one frontliner versus Sejuani and Nautilus, which means that your carries can't get hooked ever, right? They can't eat Sejuani out and get hooked by Nautilus. So it was really hard for Boogie to, I think, make space. And since we were behind, we were just kind of playing scared, I think. And it was just hard for us to do anything with our comp because we're scared, so we can't make space. Our carries are afraid of getting Sejuani ulted or Nautilus hooked, so they can't really make solo plays. So I think we failed to get an early lead or even a good position in early game, like giving up third dragon and stuff like that made it just a really difficult game.
Okay, that was all the question I have for today. Thank you very much for this interview. I hope they win the three upcoming games. Three
Thank you.
to you. Goodbye.